Not a bad bite. I didn't get any in though. Looks like a good time to take a break. No pun intended. We're coming up next. We've got a story for you. A lot of sellers are losing their land because they are getting scammed. And basically it's happening through their mailbox. And maybe you're one of them. So if you are, stick around. We'll be right back at you in 30 seconds. Welcome back. So the name of this video is Beware Buyer Purchase Land Scam. So what does this have to do with? Well, have you received any of these letters? These basically are buyer purchase letters, where the buyer is offering to purchase land that we own, our company does, for a particular price. And if you own quite a bit of land like our company does, you get a lot of these letters, and we have gotten a bunch. Have you received one of these in your mail? If you have, if you own any land, you probably have. That's because they're mass marketed out, mailed just like that. They come in your mailbox, and basically what happens is you get an offer in your mailbox, and somebody there basically offers to buy your land. And it can be, you could get multiple offers for the same land because there's so many of these land companies doing this. You know, they call themselves land investment companies. So that we're all on the same page, so to speak, what I've done is I've put some of these letters, and I'm going to show them to you in just a minute, so you can look to see what they're like if you haven't received one. If you don't own land, then you probably haven't received one, but if you do own land, you probably may have received one, and they're really big right now, and you get a bunch of them. And like I said before, with our company, we get a ton of these all the time. So let's take a look and see what these letters look like, because you get an offer in the mail, it's a cash offer. Let's take a look and see what these look like. Okay, so I thought it would be helpful if we looked at a few of these letters. I have 3 here that I want you guys to check out. So these show up in your mailbox if you own land, and I get so many of these. Our company does. So anyway, so it's a purchase agreement. You can see that. The APN number, the acreage, 13.98 acres, and they're going to offer us $1,538 for 13 acres. So that's what it is. And then if you scroll down here a little bit, they always give you a deadline date. Okay, this offer shall remain in effect until Monday, December 30th, 2019. And if it is not accepted, then it will be rescinded. So basically, this offer will go away if you don't respond right away. So, and if you're somebody that needs money or something, you might be looking at this going, wow, they're going to give me $1,500 for my 13-acre lot. And then as you scroll down here, here's another letter. Here's our company. And so it basically goes over, here's the acreage and, how many days. This offer will be contingent upon the seller acceptance within 2 weeks. So I have 2 weeks to decide if this is going to work for me. And then they will decide if, they're going to purchase it, because they're going to do their due diligence on the property. And then as you'll notice down here, here's another one. This one's in Klamath County, 4.09 acres. They're willing to give me $3,681 for this lot, So that's basically what these lots are. And then so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to sign right here and print your name and then put your email and your phone number all on that. Most of them are the same. Same thing here and then up here too. Believe it or not, all 3 of these letters are from 3 different companies. They're 3 different land buying companies, okay? But all 3 letters, if you look at them, look very similar, very much the same. And the reason that they all look similar is because there's actually a land company that teaches people how to do this.
And what's funny about a lot of these companies that send us this, and they send them to other people too, all over the U.S. They just. I talked to this one guy one time, and he told me that they just send 100,000 letters out just like that, and they get a ton of responses from people who just want to unload their land, especially people who like live in Arizona but they own land in Wyoming or something, and they don't know the value of it or anything like that.
So I've seen these letters work three ways, and this is how they work. So you saw what they are, and you notice the similarities. So, but this is how they work. So the first rule number one, the first way they work is that in the letter they put a long-term closing date. Okay, so let's say you got the letter in October, but in the letter, which I've seen them this way, I've received them this way, our company has. So it basically says this deal will close in April. So I got it in October, it's going to close in April. So you sign this contract, you send it back to them. They basically have control over your property for 6 months. Okay, so basically it's some type of an option that they're doing with your property. So you tie up your property for 6 months, and what they're doing actually is, in case you were wondering, why would they tie my property up for 6 months? Because they're trying to sell your property, that's why. They're doing it on the slide, they're not telling you, but what they're doing is they're searching around for somebody else to buy your property, and then they're gonna magically show up and go, hey, I can close this deal now, and that's because they already sold the land, and now they're just going to use their money over here to pay you, and then they keep the rest. That's basically what they're doing. The next way that they do it is number two, they give you a lowball offer. So they're dealing with somebody who maybe lives in a different state, maybe they live in Wisconsin and they own some Oregon land, okay? So this person doesn't know any value about the Oregon land. They just, maybe they're tired of paying the property taxes, which, could be, who knows, a little bit. But regardless, they don't know the value of their property most likely. So they get a lowball offer, 20 acres, we'll give you $5,000 for it, okay? And then they go, oh, sure, yeah, $5,000, wow, yeah. And so what happens is then they go ahead and close this deal, and then they turn around and sell your Oregon property that they just bought from you for $5,000. They turn around and sell it for $25,000 to somebody else. And that basically is what they're doing. Okay, now the third way that they do it is called the old bait and switch. Now, I'm sure you've heard of that before. It's an old expression, but it's basically like this. Okay, so you got your offer. Let's say it's a decent offer, and I've seen them like this too. It's a decent offer for your piece of land. Let's say it's a piece of land in Arizona. It's 10 acres or whatever. And they're going to give you $4,000 cash for your 10-acre lot, okay? So you're sitting there thinking, boy, that's not a lot of money. Well, maybe I'll go back at them or whatever, but I kind of need the money, so I'm a little scared to do that, so maybe I'll just take their offer at $4,000. Okay, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Even though I'm not sure about it, I'm just going to take their offer at $4,000. So you sign the thing, you tell them you're going to take their offer. So then you hear from them a couple of weeks later. That's why they want your email address, your phone number, so they can stay in touch with you. So the thing is what they do then is they come back at you and you go, we've been doing our research or due diligence on this property, and it's not exactly the best. The road access isn't the best. We feel that it's not a top of the line property. So now we're only going to give you $2,000 for your property because of that. And that's called the old bait and switch. So basically they offered 4, now they are down to 2, and you're in a spot where you're going, wow, should I take the 2? Is it really not worth that? Wow, what should I do? Hey, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Okay, so how can you protect yourself in this situation? Well, the first thing you do is make sure that this company is legit, okay? And the way you do that is by finding out their address, going to their county or the state and looking up online to see if this company is actually legit, okay? And to make sure, don't just rely on emails and texts and stuff like that, because anybody that does business that way, they're shady to begin with. Now maybe you're dealing with somebody and one of these companies, land companies, and they're basically saying, no, we're legit. They answer the phone, they talk to you. Well, that's probably okay then, to talk with them. But you do need to protect yourself and tell anybody that, basically is hiding in the shadows over there, you don't need their money, and you'll just keep your land. Okay, number 2, find out what your property's worth. It's your property. You need to know what it's worth. Okay, don't just rely on some letter that comes in the mail and says, "Hey, this is what your property's worth. This is what I'm going to pay for it." No, you need to know what your property's worth. And they may say, well, the tax assessed value, in one of these letters, the tax assessed value, it says it's only worth $700. Well, you know what? That's tax assessed value. That's not real market value, okay? We all know that, right? Real market value is usually substantially higher than tax assessed value, okay? So when somebody tells you, oh, well, that's just the tax assessed value, well, you definitely don't want to just take the tax assessed value. That's a bottom line. The tax assessed value, you don't want to take, if you even needed money, you don't want to take any deal where the tax assessed value, it's below that. You don't want to do that, unless you're just desperate and you have to have the money. So you want real market value, and if you don't know exactly what your property's worth, take a look at your tax statement and check it out. See if your county that the property is located in, see if they say what the real market value of the property is. Check around online. Go to LandWatch. Go to Lands of America. Type in 10 acres, Cochise County, Arizona. See what they're going for, and do your due diligence. Due diligence just means do your homework on the property so you're an informed seller and you're not asleep at the wheel and lose money, okay? Because these companies, they don't care who they're dealing with. As long as you sell, that's all they care about. They don't care about if you've got money problems, you're elderly and maybe don't understand, you're young and maybe you don't understand. They don't care about that, okay? So make sure you do your due diligence. And number 3, unless you desperately need the money in cash, don't do business with these letter companies, these buyer purchase letters like that, unless you just desperately need the money. Look around for another buyer, or put it up on Craigslist yourself, or try to sell it yourself. Get a realtor to help you. Okay, so to be fair to these land companies, and because they send me so many of those letters to our company here, I will be gracious to them in that I have found 2 uses for their letters. So let me explain that. The first use, as you can see, is it helps stoke a nice warm fire. Okay, and then the second use that I've found for them is they make great, awesome paper airplanes. They really do. They're really great. So I do appreciate them sending us these letters because I have found some use for them. So in closing, I would just like to say, do your homework. Make sure you understand everything. If you don't, ask questions to somebody. You can always send us an email. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel and also like this video. Ask questions if you get some of these letters. I'd like to hear from you. Put some comments down below and tell me your experience with them or whatever. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. This is Jesse signing off from the Owner Terms Land Network.